Top 5 most common issues we see in manuscripts. Reused conflict. I'm Karin with Right Now Editing, where we turn good manuscripts into great books.
And I'm Pegg Thomas, multi-award winning author and editor, and we are two editors for 5 minutes.
And Peg assures me that you cannot hear my crazy puppies that are going nuts outside. And if you missed it, beginning of this year, I introduced them to you. So go back and watch that video. But I'm looking at my handy dandy little list of the top 5 most frequent issues that I run into when I'm editing manuscripts. And I will start the timer now as we talk about reused conflict. So, what do I mean by that? The easiest example of this is romance, in that very often I will see the main characters, the boy and the girl, they come together, and then one of them starts to accept that they want to date, but no, they don't. And then the other one starts to, but then no, they don't. But then the other one says, well, maybe I can't. Oh, but then something, the entire book is the two of them walking towards each other and away from each other and toward. Come on, be honest. I know you've all read those books before and you want to throw them against the wall because have a conversation. I just want to tell them, grow up, sit down and have that relationship defining talk and get it over with.
That's what I
Um,
was going to say. You want to slap them and say, grow up.
yes.
Yeah.
But romance novels are not the only place where I see this. Um, Several times I've seen where maybe it's a business that is being threatened. And so the book starts off, and go back to last week, and you'll find out the goal of the character is to save her family bakery. We're going to tap into some Hallmark movies right now. So she wants to save her family bakery. But then, this person comes into town and they're going to buy it up. So then they decide to have this festival, let us save it. But then something else happens and the bakery's at stake. And then something else happens and the bakery is at stake. That does not make for an enjoyable read because we want to see kind of like character development. We want to see plot development. So it's okay if the bakery is at stake, but we want to see something else happening. Maybe a family member gets sick. Maybe the hero gets called away and disappears for 6 months. Let something happen because reused conflict makes readers crazy. Peg. How do you encourage people to how do you encourage them to add conflict and to find conflict that they can put into their books?
Before I answer that, I would say the one time you can make reuse conflict work, because there is a time that it will work. If you have a character who has gone through something absolutely atrocious, like the Holocaust, or like a a house fire that killed the rest of their family, or something like that that is so traumatic that the rest of their life is going to be undone in a way because of it, then you can use it. But you still have to use it in such a way that it's not just regurgitating the same thing over and over. They have to have reactions to that tragedy in slightly different ways. Okay. So I've
Things
seen
like
books like that where it does work, but
you don't necessarily, if going back to the house fire, you don't necessarily want to see there's a candle and he panics. And then there's a candle and then he panics. And then he sees
right.
a fireplace and then you're reusing conflict. So you
Exactly. So it
take
might be
that.
one time there's a fire in the fireplace and they smell it and they have a reaction. Maybe another time they see a firefighter in the street. So you're
Yes.
using different stimuli to cement into the story how traumatic this event was for that character. You're not just using the same thing over and over again. You're reusing the issue with the character, but you're coming at it from different points of view. So that can work. But you have to be careful with it. You have to think it through, and you have to make it not just rerunning the same thing. Otherwise, everybody has different conflict. Walk into a church building. You're a member of a church building. You're gonna find 50 ways of conflict when you walk in there. There's going to be the people who don't like the music, the people who don't like the color of the carpet, the people who don't like that it went to chairs instead of pews, the people who think the ceiling's too tall, some other people who don't like the sound. There's tons of conflict around you all over. So you don't have to keep falling back to the other. Just open your senses up, think as your character thinks, and you will start picking up. If you know your character, if you know their backstory, if you know what they've been through, you can see things through their eyes and you will see that other conflict and you'll pick it out of who your character is.
So we got just under 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So this would be my parting piece of advice on this. Keep asking yourself, what else can go wrong? Don't rely on that one thing. What else can go wrong? Will give you new ideas and even new ways to reuse the same conflict.
And don't be afraid to let your characters be a little weird about some things that can cause them to have reactions. It's okay if your characters are a little weird
And we actually made it right on our 5-minute mark. So we will stop now before we go over by too
because
much.
we are not weird at all.
Stop on back next week. I got another one that I see pretty regularly. We'll talk about it then. Until then, I'm Karen Beery.
And I'm Peg Thomas, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.